Hello, everybody. I'm so grateful you're joining us today. We are here to talk to you more about the wonderful Tower Garden, the vertical way to grow food inside and out. I'm going to go to the next slide and tell you what we're really excited about is growing your own food. We're going to be doing a Tower Garden event, and we're going to be talking about the indoor and outdoor vertical tower gardens and to go into more detail. But I want to give you a little deep dive of our company that that talks about 5 different ways to enhance and upgrade your way to get more raw fruits and vegetables and to bridge the gap, the nutritional gap. And it's the Juice Plus company. And they have 5 different ways to get more plants. And we have the fruits and vegetables and berries, dehydrated, concentrated whole food and capsule. We also have a vegan plant-based omega. We have the plant-based bars, vegan bars and shakes, as well as the Tower Garden. So we want you to know that we do classes on these. We're doing a Tower Garden event today. Let me go ahead and start with all of you sharing my story. I don't know about you, but I always loved to eat good food. And when I was young, I lived in a 20-acre farm with my family. We had a big garden. We had a lot of tractors. Every Saturday, we had to work really hard weeding the garden. We had to work really hard to have that garden. And I struggled with the jobs and the chores that we had to do as a large family. Then when I had my own family, I struggled with getting my kids to weed the garden. We fought over who's going to water the garden, and it became a really hard fight. And then when I learned about the vertical tower gardens, even though I didn't have a very good thumb to grow good things, I always seemed to kill the plants. But when I had a way to use the easy plug and play with the vertical tower gardens, which we'll talk about today, I was able to win. And my kids, we didn't fight anymore. We have 4 gardens, and I was able to have delicious foods that would grow easier. And it helped me fall in love with the better taste of food and better relationships that I had with my children, and really had a great way to begin sharing those with others, to have ways to grow food and to not have so much of the worry of who's touching our food and the recalls that we're seeing in the grocery store. So it's a way to save money and to have better food. And my story is exciting to share, and hope that you appreciate that. I'm sure you can relate to mine. I'm going to turn it over to you, Sharon, to share some of the journey you've had with your journey learning about the tower gardens as well.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. 10 years ago, when I first saw the gardening appliance, the Tower Garden, it was an answer to a prayer, because I grew up with gardens, but our soil was always so hard and rocky. And I always had these visions of having lush gardens, but I wasn't having the success that I was visualizing. And, busy mom myself, wanting to have a garden for a hobby, for joy. Yes, I love the food, but I also just love growing something and taking care of it. So look at that cucumber I have there. It's competing with your lettuce or your cabbage there. It's the Tower Garden really makes you feel like you can grow any place, whether you live in an apartment, you have a deck, a patio, if the deer come through your backyard. Success comes at all different levels. And so when I found the Tower Garden, I was so excited about it. I just wanted to tell everybody about it. And it definitely ignited with a career path for myself. And it also provides food for my family, and it nurtured my hobby. So let's get going. And Rachel, you talked a little bit about our food and where it comes from. And, it's funny how much work we put into finding the right doctor and the right dentist. If you're having surgery, you want to check their credentials, but something happens with our food. We just go to any old place and get it. So we're here to really encourage you to be proactive on knowing where your food comes from, and having some responsibility with it. Comes from planes, trains, automobiles, and boats. And it comes from great distances, and it comes with a price. And the price is on the pesticides. This isn't salad dressing. It's a spray to make the food look really good. Sometimes there's waxes and things that they're dipped in. So it's always good to be aware of that and making sure we're proactive in removing any of them and buying organic when we can. Rachel, you also touched a little bit about, food contaminants. It's quite scary. So people are concerned about where their food's coming from. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but my goodness, the price of food just keeps going up and up. It's beyond the cost of living. It's amazing how over the last 10, 15 years, how the groceries have absolutely doubled. And as the price goes up, it's almost like the nutrition goes down. And I remember when I was a kid, we would just have a couple servings of fruits and vegetables in a day, and that was enough nutrition. And now we're like, they're saying you need 12 or more servings. I mean, that's a tremendous amount of food. We also really love encouraging buying vine ripened. Local is great. Supporting our local farmers is a wonderful thing. Of course, we want to encourage growing fresh produce, but here's some things to think about before you start your gardening. Be careful about pressure treated lumber. Also make sure that you use proper fertilizers and nutrients because it could be quite backbreaking. And one thing a lot of people don't think about is food grade containers. The middle picture here, most of all that stuff that they're growing in is really poisonous. And we don't think about it, but where our plants are growing, we're feeding them that varnish and stain and glues and all that type of thing. And so this is where the story begins.
Yeah, the story begins. It's exciting. I don't know if you remember early in 1990s when NASA took us to the moon and back. I remember learning about that when I was little. And they experimented with growing in gravity-free environments. And it came with, of course, some challenges, and growing in mist environments without soil was a challenge. And fast forward later to NASA, they joined forces with Disney. And I don't know if you've been to Epcot Center, but we partner with Tim Blanca's worked with as a chief horticulturist with Disney. And he was the one that created the vertical tower gardens. He had a passion, had a dream, had a vision that he could be able to have a way for everyone to grow vertical and to learn more about, the passions to grow in an easier way. And so he created the vertical tower gardens.
Let's go ahead and show everybody how the towers work.
Garden's state-of-the-art aeroponic vertical garden system uses both water and air to produce more colorful, better tasting, and incredibly nutritious fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Tower Garden has a 20-gallon reservoir at its base that stores the Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Developed by experts in plant and human nutrition, Tower Tonic Mineral Blend enables superior plant growth and better nutrition from your Tower Garden produce. The process begins once the seedlings have been placed in your tower garden. Here they will be nourished with Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Inside the reservoir is a small, low-wattage submersible pump. The pump pushes the nutrient solution up through the tower to the top. From there, the nutrient solution drips through the central tower using a special device that evenly cascades the solution over the exposed plant roots. On the journey down the tower, the nutrient solution feeds the roots and becomes highly oxygenated as it cascades gently down the reservoir. This process is continuous, providing fresh oxygen, water, and nutrients to the roots of the plants. This patented aeroponic process enables food crops to grow faster than they would in soil, so they can be harvested more often. And it makes Tower Garden the healthier, easier, smarter way to grow your produce.
Definitely is faster way to grow. And let me show you. I was going to say, this is what it looks like on the inside. So you can see it is clean and the roots are right there, and they call it aeroponics. So it gets a mixture of the tonic, the water, and the air. It's so simple, and it's on a timer, so you don't have to worry about it, and it's not dripping all the time. So it takes care of it for yourself. And you can just see, look at the roots and how quickly they are growing. The one with the roots there, both those plants were purchased at the same time. One was sitting in a pan of water and the other was in the tower garden. So you can just see that it just really encourages fast growing. And so let me show you a 4-week time lapse, and you can see how quickly this grows. And when you have your tower, there's different places you can place your plants, and the person that's invited you here can show you how to place your plants in there. Notice how the squash and things are in the bottom. It's just a beautiful way to grow fresh produce. And this is our own gardens in Maryland, and this was in April. What I love about the tower is that most people don't plant until Mother's Day in May. So now you've extended your growing season by April or so. And you can even see by looking at the pictures how quickly the lettuces grew in just 3 weeks. So 3 weeks from seedling, you can start cutting off the lettuce and having some salad. So it immediately starts paying for itself.
Well, I know too, when I have four tower gardens, but I noticed in that slide previous, there's something about the third week. It just seems to really pop and kind of do double time with the tower. And I have microgreens growing. I have carrot microgreens. It's really nice to be able to have some of those things that we don't grow, like root vegetables that can grow in microgreen form. So some of the greatest benefits that you can read here are listed, but one of the best ones that you are growing in a soil-free environment with no weeding, no tilling, no kneeling down and getting dirty, which is nice when we're busy, or those that want to grow or to share in like nursing homes or elderly, or just having them in school as well. And they grow up to 28 plants in one tower, so you save space. It only uses 10% of the land and water to really produce crops that less time in growing, and also helps the environment. So it's wonderful to have many of the benefits and much more that are listed here.
So let's talk about all of the great benefits of having a tower garden and things you can grow. Kids, first of all, love being around plants and being involved in growing. As you can see, this little guy is picking dinner, and the same tower could be outside growing in the garden. And one of my favorite things to grow was strawberries, and they're so fun. I had a whole complete tower of fresh strawberries. And here's an idea of some of the other things that you can grow. Rachel, have you grown any of these vegetables in your gardens?
Well, this last year, I was so excited. I did about 5 different broccoli plants and cauliflower. And it was just incredible. And I didn't realize the delicious taste of the leaves, even more than the cauliflower or broccoli. And just the stir fry, the bok choy. I do a variety of the Japanese eggplant. And you just really, you got your celery growing on top. And it's just such a wonderful thing that they're intense flavors. They're a lot more nutritionally dense. And you don't need a lot of it because it's really more intense. And then it keeps growing. It's like a growing machine. So such a reward.
So absolutely. And look at that basil. Boy, oh boy, Rachel, we can really we can make pesto for everybody.
I'm a Greek, so I know you're Italian or Greek. We can make a lot of good Italian, like say pestos, and it's wonderful to give gifts away as well.
Yeah. A lot of people who love and enjoy cooking, they know the price of herbs in the store. Rather going out to your garden, take a little snip of the chives, a little of the oregano, the basil, and like you said before,
well, that's the best part, is like you go to the store and you need just a little bit of dill or the basil, but it goes bad and you don't need a lot of it. So that's one of the best parts of it too.
Yeah. And I so enjoy it. And this is one of the other things that people like to grow. They like to grow squashes and lettuces, and there's the basil. Look at that delicious kale. So many people love making kale chips.
Well, I make kale mango salads. Just take lemon, I squeeze some lemon in and I just wring it so it softens it, but it's so tender. It's not like in the stores. It's very different.
Oh, it's so good. Just love the fresh produce and the tomatoes. And I have great success with large tomatoes or small ones. I find that people run by the garden and they just start plucking tomatoes off the garden.
I do. Yeah.
And rosemary. Oh my goodness. I had this rosemary plant for about 3 or 4 years, and they just kept growing and growing. I couldn't use it all.
I use it as centerpieces too. It makes it for the room smell good. It's a beautiful visual for your table as well.
Oh, that was a good idea. I wish I would have did that. So, and like I said, all the lettuces, and people have so much fun. Look at how big her Swiss chard is. So love it. And you can do cantaloupe and watermelon because the stem is so small and it just grows in vines or
Well, I
green.
also freeze like the Swiss chard. I just, if I have a lot, I'll end up going on vacation or something and I'll just harvest everything and I'll just freeze it in zippy bags. So I put it in my smoothies or for soups, things like that.
Great idea, because it's a good way again to add that added nutrition to your shakes in the day, power shakes. So perfect. And I love the outdoor garden. Some people will get 2 or 3 of them and do a variety. People use them as entrances. They do flowers. I mean, just, the creativity is just abound. So let's transition and talk about, what I've been showing you a lot is the outdoor garden where you grow on your deck or your patio. But we also have a way you can grow indoors and meet our tower garden home. Let me tell you a little bit about it. This is my tower right in my kitchen here growing. And as the lady is just demonstrating, is that there's a timer. You have access to the lights going on and off. You program it. The water pump works automatically, and it's a no-brainer right there in the kitchen while I'm cooking. Let me share a little bit with you the seedlings and how that works. And I'll show you how it works in my garden. I'll start my seedlings with my rock wool, which is spun volcanic rock. People can also purchase seedlings from Tower Garden farmers or growing centers. I do both. And so this is what the seedlings look like. I always got something cooking here since I have so many tower gardens. And we put those seedlings into our tower, and they're just little guys, but they love this growing environment. As you see in the one, I always have sometimes a little tray going with some seedlings so I can rotate crops. Not everything is 100% successful, but that's part of having this amazing hobby. And so they just start taking off and growing, as you can see in these 2 pictures. And these are still only like a week or 2 into it, it really starts taking off. And then you have this, and you don't even get to see the tower. So now it's really harvest time. So what happens in harvest time? Well, your first lettuce, you cut it, but you cut it where it still can keep growing, and then it regrows back, and you can see the first week and the second week. By the 3rd week, it looks like you've never given it a haircut. So here's the beauty of this whole process. It's not just one and done. It keeps growing and rejuvenating, and it's there that you can have harvest after harvest after harvest. And then when it's done, you'll say, I want to do something different. You'll have a seedling just to replace. Anything you want to add, Rachel?
Well, one of the blessings is the tower is a variety. I have like 5 to 6 types of lettuces, and it's the variety, the synergy, that it's all helping you have more healing properties, also more your taste buds. We want to have a variety of things to be able to taste and to gets us not being bored with it. So sometimes we go to get a salad, we don't really like the salad because there's only one type. But this is the blessing. We have lots of things to add, and it's like going to Europe every single day, getting the nice, healthy variety of salads. And it's I save about $20 per tower a week on my tower garden, so it's very well worth the time and the effort. And also, you get to be a connoisseur of the taste, so it's hard to go back to eating at the grocery store. It's wonderful how we do a deep dive and come back around, so that this is becoming the wave of the future. And if we go to the next slide. We're able to use something that a lot of people wonder, how do we get the superior cellular rejuvenation within the body of the nutrition to feed these plants so that can really bring more value to us? It's not Miracle Grow. It's something this tonic that we put into the base of the tower is perfectly designed to help all the plants grow the right way. Whereas in a garden, when I grew a garden, you had to figure out what's fertilized for the tomato, what's going to grow good for the lettuce. This is perfectly designed with the mineral tonic, the organic mineral tonic, that helps to feed these plants the nutrient that they need. It's a special technology for aeroponic technology for the tower garden to help enable superior plant growth and really developed by world experts in the plant and human nutrition. So this mineral tonic is the solution that we put into the tower for all types of flowering crops as well as lettuce.
I'm going to say, so I wanted to share this video here and comparing the tower garden produce to what you get in the store.
In this video, I'd like to show you the difference between juicing celery, and in this demonstration, I went ahead and got organic celery from the supermarket and fresh cut celery from my tower garden. First, I'm going to start off by juicing the store-bought organic celery. Celery ranks very high in the dirty dozen list, which means that you will get a lot of pesticide and chemical residue. And so it's best to always buy organic when possible. So here we go. Here we have some of our juiced celery from the supermarket, and you can see it's not greenish. It's not very green. It's green tone. Taste it. Smells like celery. It's a light celery flavor. It's decent. I would say it's nice. The color doesn't really say much. So now let's go for the Tower Garden celery. So you see the difference in the stem and the color? It's incredible. So we're gonna start juicing our Tower Garden celery with the leaves and all, because they're very nutritious. Here we go. Here is our celery from my Tower Garden. Isn't that incredible? I mean, do you see the difference in color? It's like an emerald green. Look at this. It smells like wheatgrass. That's how rich the smell is, and the taste. Wow, it's incredible. I mean, if this doesn't convince you, what will?
Yeah, it's like amazing. And that brings back of the transportation. It's like if you can have it fresh right there, it has the highest nutritional value.
Also the taste, because I grow celery and you don't need that much. And so people are in this big celery kick. They have to grow or eat so much or juice so much in the store because it doesn't have the value. You don't have to juice that much because it's so intensely potent. So it's really rewarding.
Yeah, that was a good point. Thank you for bringing that here. And so we want to transition and think about our children. We have a lot of people who bring the Tower Gardens to schools, preschools. They have it in their home for education or homeschooling or just exposure to growing food. There's so many topics around the Tower Garden, around food, making good choices, shaping taste buds. It's just children just love it. And Rachel, what's your experience with kids?
Oh, well, I have a lot of families come over and their kids love to go up and we talk about seeds, we talk about growth. These are a picture of my grandchildren when they were younger, and a lot of kids don't like good food because they never had the palate for it, but they are tamed that way with Juice Plus. Of course, we have that we mentioned at the beginning, and then they are able to plant. They grow, they experience it, they get to taste it, and it tastes so much different, so that they really just eat right off the tower. So my Blakely, you show her there, and her little sister, they're able to help me harvest things and grow, and we cook together, and they are being taught. And this is a transformational educational platform to be able to help kids know how to eat so they can grow into the future and not be have such an alarming health declines like many families are struggling with today.
When you were talking, it made me think of my neighbor boy. When I sit him, every time he comes over to my house and I cook for him, have dinner, he's constantly saying, can I have a salad? Can I have a salad off your tower? It's so cool, and I always encourage that. And he helps me plan and to do that. And so if we have any teachers or anybody who is interested in sharing the towers with schools or thinking about homeschooling, we have a whole curriculum. So we'll get with the person who invited you for this information, because we have lots of great resources that inspire children to really get involved. And these are Tim Blank's kids. I still cracks me up a whole parsley. They must drink a lot of parsley juice. So let's talk a little bit about how does a tower pay for itself? How much is a tower, and what type of yield can you expect? And so this was an analysis that was done from one of the farms in Atlanta, Georgia. And this is like food prices have gone up dramatically since this was done. And so when you take the price of the produce and your yield, you can really see in a 6-month time period the value of almost $800 worth of food that they were able to get from their tower. And what I'll share from my personal experience, which I was just saying, the Tower Garden home with butter crunch lettuce, for me to buy a head of butter crunch lettuce in the store, it's not organic, but it was there. It's about $3 a head. So when you start looking at that, and I'm doing 2 to 3 heads a day, we're looking at $9 to $10 a day for fresh butter crunch lettuce, and you start doing the math on that very quickly. So for me, it's tremendous, let alone having fresh herbs and basil, and in the store it's like $4 every time you want a little parsley or a little basil. So Rachel, what is your experience on the cost and value?
Pretty much. Well, there's different, different time periods. You're going through different things, but I think at least $20 of saving on each tower a week. So 20, 40, 60, 80, and you times that by how many people you have in your family. But I have 4 towers. I'm a one person. All my kids are gone, but I sure use it and I give it away. And it's a wonderful way to, like you say, stock up for the couple months that you may not be growing in the winter if you choose, or to give away or to give as gifts, which I love as well.
So let's talk a little bit about how much the Tower Garden costs. You can get the entire growing system flex for the outdoor without the lights for $56 a month for 12 months. If you want to add the lights to it, so you can bring the tower in or out depending on the season, that makes the total payment $63 a month, and that includes the shipping. It's interest free. And so by the end of the year, now you have your own Tower Garden growing machine that you can use year after year after year. So Rachel, our gardens are like 9 and 10 years old now, aren't they?
Yeah, it's about 10 years now. I can't believe it. I have 4 gardens. I have 1 indoor, and then I have the 3 outdoor.
Yeah,
they last.
It's amazing. So let's talk about the indoor garden. And so you can get the Tower Garden home without the lights for $61. But of course, if you're growing indoors, we highly recommend the lights. I mean, like 100%. And that is $85 a month for 12 months to have this amazing Tower Garden machine. It is an investment, but so is a refrigerator and a dishwasher and a washer. It's something that adds value and pays for itself within the family. And here's a picture of what comes with it. You get some tonic, you get pH tester, all of your timers, your rock wool, you get some seeds and your pump. Everything that you need to get started is here. I always recommend getting an extra tonic and maybe some rock wool, just so you have it to cover you for as you change your mind and plant and get new things. And you can just roll that over into the payments. It's interest free, and it's like only adds a couple dollars a month. And once it's paid for, it's yours and it's producing food. So I have gardens that are 10 years old. So I bought them 10 years ago and they're still producing now. So you can all of a sudden see that value, and what Rachel said, $20 a week per tower, and times that by like 10 years. So you can really see the value. The tonic, to replace the tonic, is not very expensive, and you only use a small amount. For people always ask about ongoing costs. I think that's important to let you know. We have a great community of support. We have all sorts of books, tutorials, recipe books. So you will have support. You will not be abandoned. We have videos on how to assemble it and have support. And we have a company-wide Tower Garden Facebook page. And Tim Blank, the creator of the Tower Garden, also is there and helping us support. Here's a little picture of some of the optional features that you can get. And so one of the other questions that we get a lot of, and this was one that I had, like, well, what if I want more than one? Is there a value for having more than one? And yes, we have a savings of saving $350 on our Tower Garden family. So there's 3 towers. They come with the extensions. So they grow even more. They have a tomato cage with it. The only thing that I will tell you is if you teamed up with a family member and you want to divide it, just make sure you get an extra timer. So you only get 2 timers with this. And I think it's like $20 or so for that extra timer. So you can even buddy up with somebody as well and share your towers. What I find though is when I got all 3 of them, that's when the fun began, because I just like filled the patio and just had some fun. But there's some great savings there for you. And Rachel, you said you have 4 towers?
When I first started out, I had 2 daughters I have 4 daughters that 2 are gone into college, but 2 are home. So I said, hey, here are our towers. You get to name it and you get to grow what you want to grow. And they mapped it out what they wanted to grow and they named it and they had competition. It was really rewarding. So it's wonderful. And one of the things I wanted to mention is the tonic. It lasts really about 6 months, you know. It's so pretty much through the year, unless it was a very intense summer and lots of high heat things, but it's really a savings. And it, like I said, you should be able to have your tower if you kept in good condition for most of your life. It's like buying a washing machine and dryer. And so it's your garden, and it costs a fortune to have your own garden with tractors and tools and seeds. And this was so affordable, and it saves, like you said, in the long term.
Exactly. And the only part that may wear out from time to time is the pump. You know, you say having it a lifetime. I think I've replaced in my 10 years 1 or 2 pumps, and they're again like a $20 thing. So it's not going to be expensive. So I just like to let people know what all that is. It just kind of helps them have a picture so they can decide. And of course, we always stand behind our product. We have a money back guarantee. We want you to be happy and satisfied and excited. So that's why we're going to give you a guarantee and make sure that you have amazing support too, so for your success. Now, people ask us and whether they're thinking about a school or buying multiple towers, or they have landscaping business, or they want to just share with some friends, or maybe share enough towers to have theirs paid for. We do have a program where you can be a Tower Garden partner with us, receive some benefits, offset the cost of your tower, bring healthy, nutritious food into your family, and just get with the person who invited you, because I did make this decision early on, and it was a very, very good decision.
Well, I love it too. And I am so grateful that I'm an entrepreneur, you know, and I love to be part of a mission and a movement to take health back. And so we want you to know you're invited to grow, become healthier, make things easier, and really learning about the vertical tower garden to be the best, one of the complement ways to add value to bridging that gap with the fun way. We also have the Juice Plus whole food concentrates and 30 plants in a capsule, which is a really secure way to make sure we get enough nutrition in our attempts to eat it. And then for those who are looking for a way to purchase something as a customer, it's a wonderful way to give as gifts for different birthdays or the holidays, or anytime, just as a way to give something that's real of value that could really upgrade health, and also to be part of our mission to inspire healthy living. And I want to invite you to be part of that. It's the best decision I've ever made, because I can expand my reach. I can make some incredible, significant income with a complete benefit packet with the Juice Plus company. So we have a lot of options there. So get back to the person that invited you today to talk about your many options. And it's very rewarding in many ways. And a year from now, you will wish you had started today. So thank you for joining us today.